All right, so we got everything we're taking to the machine shop. So we got the block right here. That one I'm getting hot tanked. Then we got the head right here. I gotta take this head gasket off, and then I'm also taking the crank right here as well. So yeah, let's go ahead, get those to the machine shop and get everything cleaned up and measured. All right, so we got everything loaded up into my car right here. We got the block, the heads, and then we got the crank in here. So let's go drop them off at the machine shop and get everything quoted and priced out. All right, so I just got everything back from the machine shop. We got the heads right here resurfaced, cleaned up. And then we got the block right here. We got the crank that's all polished. And we got the pistons. They went crazy on these. These look brand new. So here's these, if I can actually get one out. Here we go. So there we go. All right, so we got the engine back on the stand. I'm definitely gonna have to clean some of this up because this is ugly right here, all that corrosion. But now we wait for the parts to come in. I bought a rebuild kit, so we're just gonna wait on that, and yeah, we'll start assembling it. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna start with is putting these oil jets back in here. So the oil jet sits in the block like this, and you can see the orientation that these had to sit in right here. So let's get all 4 of these bolted up and let's get these put in. All right, so we got the car over here. So I'm gonna lift the rear up and I'm gonna see what all we need to get these rear brakes hooked up and back on while we wait for the parts for the engine rebuild. All right, so we got the car jacked up, and as you can see, they got the e-brake release cable right here, or I believe, yeah, the e-brake cable. Then we have the brake line right here. As you can see, there's some corrosion in here. So I'm going to try to get a pick in here and pick this all out. And I'm gonna go see if the guy had the old rotors or not and get all this hooked back up. So let's go find out. Okay, so this car came with Brembo rear brake rotors that are never open too. Here's one right here. So we're gonna go ahead and get all these brakes installed right here and get all this taken care of. Okay, now what I have right here is, I believe, the bolts to hook up the caliper. Obviously I'm gonna have to replace these eventually. I'm just on a time crunch, and this car is going to be done by August 22nd. It is currently, I believe, mid-July. So yeah, we're gonna just install these and get these calipers back together. All right, so let's remove this old rotor right here. Yeah, that needs to go. Set that. The new one right here. Actually, we need to clean this off, so give me 1 second. Got to get this nice and pretty. Let's see, I'll do the rest of this and I'll get back to y'all when I finish this. All right, I just realized I'm gonna have to buy my own rear rotors because these are 5 lugs, so I don't know if he was gonna do a 5 lug conversion or what he had planned, but we're gonna have to buy rotors now. All right, so since I have to get new rotors, I might as well just get new bolts. I mean, even though everything else is rusted, we might as well do some stuff right. All right, guys, and a couple days later, we got our new brakes and rotors, so let's go get these installed on the car. All right, so let's get this new rotor on. You want to make sure you spray this down. And then let's get our screw. I'm gonna go find the set screw to hold the rotor in place. So we might only have one set screw holding this in. Yeah, this ain't going on. Let's take this off. It's like most rotors don't even come with these holes for the screws, so we'll run it without it. It's got one holding it on, and the caliper and all that will hold it on anyway, so I'm really not worried about it. So let's go ahead and get that caliper installed now. Alright guys, so let's go ahead and put our caliper on it, and I got new bolts as well. So let's go ahead and install this caliper on the rear of the brake rotor. Alright, we got the caliper in, and you always want to make sure you grease the sliding pin. So let's put this back in. Let's see. Put that back over like that. There you go. You just want to make sure there's grease on it, or so it gets stuck. Here's the old one. Let's put this one back on. Put some more grease on there. I don't think you could put too much, so let's put that. Let's put it on this bottom boot right here. Put that back over. There you go. Just like that, those are both installed. Now let's put the outer bracket on. Okay, so this dude actually had EBC brake pads that came with the car right here. So we're gonna use these and not the Detroit Axle ones, and hopefully I don't regret it. I can't tell if this is paint on the side of the pad or what, but EBC is a brighter brand, so let's try those. All right, now that we got the rear caliper on, we want to put the bleed screw back through the brake line right here, and we want to connect the e-brake back up. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, so right now what I'm doing is pumping the brakes with the brake line disconnected from the caliper to get all this crud and stuff out of the line. As you can see, all that was in the line, so let's go ahead and keep pumping a little more until this starts to clear up. Okay, so we just readjusted the e-brake cable right here. What you do is you spin this nut left and right to loosen or tighten it. So now we got this pretty good. So when you yank up like this, the wheels stop moving, which is good because you don't want your car to roll down a hill, you know, even if you got it in gear or whatever. So that's all good. Let's put the armrest back on. All right, now let's do these front brakes. As you see, he had Willwood pistons. He never drove on these, by the way. So you guys are probably wondering, am I going to replace the pad and rotor from sitting for 13 years? Nope, I'm not. We're going to run this, and we're going to hope the rust on that cleans up. And these pads will hopefully clean up. So yeah, let's go ahead and get these bled. All right, and this is how she sits for now. I did not bleed the front brake calipers because I still have to remove the knuckle and get the ball joints and all that off. So I figured I'll just do that all together. So yeah, this is where we're leaving off, and next we'll be building hopefully the engine. Still waiting on the parts, so we'll be doing that next. So yeah, stay tuned for the next video. And yeah, sorry if this video is all over the place. I'm kind of in a hurry to get this car done, so I won't really be showing every little piece of the engine I got to put together, but you know, I'll be skipping through it and showing you guys the process. So yeah, stay tuned for the next video.